2 weeks ago, I brought the heat. Last week, I made it flow. But this week, I'm doing both, fire and water together. Let's see if these two opposites can coexist together. To pull this off, I had to rethink the entire design, from how the water moves to where the fire sits. Let me show you how it all came together. Welcome back to Timber West Design, where we talk timber, shade structures, and outdoor living. Here are the supplies you're going to need for this project. Some Cementol cement mix, you need a bucket to mix it in, you need a drill mixer or some way to mix it. I love this drill mixer, it works really well. You'll need a scale, it's a 4-to-1 ratio of Cementol to water. You'll need a mold, you'll need some mold release. I like canola oil spray, it works really well. After it's done, you're going to need some primer, some paint, some sandpaper, some spot putty. A little note on the paint, I use this enamel. I should have used probably a high temp paint in a future build. If I do something with fire this close to the paint, I'll probably use a high temp paint so it doesn't blister or discolor. At the next step, you'll need a pump. I have this small little pump. I'll put links to the description of everything in the description here. You're gonna need some little medium to put on top of your pie tin and your grading system. I just cut this out of a cooling baking rack. And I think that'll take care of it. So get all those supplies put together and let's get this build going. So this project starts with 3 new components. I have this cylinder section and we'll make the outer mold like that. The other side, we'll do an inner core like so. We'll do a keyway that gets removed to get the inner core out. Then I'll have a channel core at the bottom, and then we need a lid for that one. So that's one part. The second part is the top. So I have this top piece. It's got this ring here that'll center it within that cylinder. The mold for that looks like so, and we'll put a top on it. So there we go. We'll pour it on this side like that. And then the third piece is this bowl. This is going to hold the pie tin for the fire. And so we're going to have a mold top for that. We'll have a mold bottom. And that gets bolted together and poured this way. So we're going to send these all to the 3D printer. 3D printer will be busy, and then we're going to get to building this thing. There's a lot of parts for my 3D printer to build on this project. It's always exciting to see it come together though. Once you go from a digital file to the actual physical part, it's always fun to watch. This is going to be a good one to get together, and I'll see you at the next point. The 3D printer's been hard at work. So before we put mold release on, I have a couple of spots where I need some threaded inserts put in. So what we do is we just kind of set these in position like so. And then I take a tool that heats them up and melts them in place. Just takes a second, and then we just put it like that, just barely below the surface, and there we go. Now it's time to put mold release on. So I take my canola oil, spray it in here, and then I like to just take a foam brush and just spread it, make sure it's on all the surfaces evenly, all the casting surfaces. Looks good. It doesn't need to be much, just a light film. I'll do that to all the parts. We'll start putting it together. They're all coated with canola oil. It's time to bolt the molds together. This registers the mold and holds it together as well. So we'll do this all, put the nuts on it. I've got 3 pieces of molds really. So I've got the core, I've got the top, and then I've got the fire bowl. And we'll start getting this put together and we'll get to that point. So I like to snug up by hand, and then I take a wrench and just tighten them all up, make sure everything's good and tight. Not too tight, but just good and snug. The first 2 molds are ready. I have a third one still on the printer. We'll do that one tomorrow, but we're gonna get ready to pour these 2. So I'm gonna do one at a time. We'll start with this one, and I'm gonna go out and mix, and I'll be right back. First mix is ready to go. Carefully pour it in here. Try not to make too big of a mess. Looks like it's time to get the spatula out though. Okay, I think we're there. What I like to do is just kind of tap it, get things settled. Looks like I got a little bit of a mess here. Get things settled, get things leveled off a little bit. once it kind of sets up a little bit, I'll tool that top edge, make sure it's nice and flat. Here's our second mold. I'm gonna tap this just to make sure it's got to go way back in the corner here, so just make sure this is all gonna cast properly. Okay, I think we're about there. So tap this a little bit more. The purpose of this little collar is to fit inside of the other one and center it. I think we're good. I want to thank this week's sponsor, Pale Blue Batteries. You know, I like nice high-end flashlights, and you know what powers my flashlights? Pale Blue rechargeable batteries. What I like about them is I can take a power bank on the go. There's a USB-C port right on the battery. I can plug it in, charge on the go. Pale Blue batteries, they're awesome. It's been a few hours. These first two are ready to go. Let's take the molds apart and see how this is going to turn out. It's always exciting to get the first pull. All the bolts are off. Let's see how this thing turned out. Oops. Well, broke that one off. Okay, here's the outside of this. Outside of this. This base will pop right off there. There we go. Looking good so far. I just need to get this little keyway out, and that'll pop right out. Okay, and we pinch this part, collapse a little bit, pull the core out, and voila. Turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. This one should be much easier to pull. There we go. There we go. We'll just tap this, and there is our top. So this is going to go here like so. This will go like so. And we got the next section on top of that. I'm very happy with how it turned out. So we'll give this some time to dry out, give it a day or so. We'll sand some of the parting line off and get it ready for primer. Third mold is ready to pour. This is a nice, small, easy mold, easy peasy. So we're just gonna get this just to the brim. I think we're about there. So let's just tap this. Just want to get any air out, make sure the concrete's dispersed. So what I like to do is, I don't want to be short. I have this slightly over. As it sets up, I'll take a troweling tool and just kind of level it off. Get it nice and flat with the bottom, and I'll see you in a few hours. It's been a few hours. It's time to demold this one. Just undo these bolts. This is going to be a quick and easy one. We'll just take all these pieces off. Let's just pop a screwdriver in the gap here. There's the inside of the bowl. Just kind of go around and tap the edge. There we go. So there's our bowl. And we're going to let this dry out, and we'll sand it and prime it probably tomorrow and get it caught up with the other two parts, and we'll get to that point. So when the molds come together, there's a seam here. It's called the parting line. And what we want to do is we want to sand that and get that smooth so we can get it ready for primer. I like to take a block, especially on a surface like this, and then just knock that down. Sand it till it's you just can't really feel any bumps, and we'll get this ready for primer. I also have this piece. You can also use some hand paper, come in here and smooth it up. But the idea here is just get rid of any bumps that we have, any imperfections, and we'll get it for primer, and then at that point we'll get that further refined. All three of the new components are primed. So once you prime on concrete, there's going to be a little imperfection here and there. So I take my Bondo spot putty, I take a rubber glove, and I just kind of smear into some of the minor little defects in here. What we'll do is we'll just kind of go around there. Once that's dry, which takes an hour or two, I will sand this all with 150 grit sandpaper on all three of them. If it looks good, I will paint. If not, I'll prime again. So we'll get it to that point and I'll see you then. The spot putty is dry enough, so sometimes on some larger projects I do what's called a guide coat, so I'll spray a dark color on here, just fog it on, so when you sand you can see where the low spots are. So on small parts like this I'm not going to worry about it, so we're going to just take some 150 grit sandpaper and just get this smooth and ready for paint. So it's not going to take a whole lot of sanding, just get it so you can just go along, feel, make sure everything's good. We're going to do that to all 3 parts, and then we're going to paint, so it'll be fun. Can't wait to see all this. The 3 pieces are painted and ready to go, so we're going to start putting these together. So I've got the column, I've got this top piece, and then I've got the bowl. I need a spacer in between the bowl and this lid, so what I've done is I've 3D printed these little spacer pieces, and the reason that I did this shape is so that when the water comes out it doesn't disrupt the flows. I tried lining this up a few times, I just wasn't happy with the alignment, so my wife suggested I draw a target on the bottom to line it up. I should listen to her more often. So what we're going to do is I'm going to glue these little things on here like so. I'm doing 4 too. Previously I did 3, so I think this will get a little bit better adhesion. So we're going to see how this works out. Okay, so now I have the hole and I have a target. Put some glue on here, line it up, eyeball down the target. This is going to work perfectly. Here we go. We're going to let that set up for a minute and then we'll start putting this all together. This particular pump, the output shaft is off center from the body. I made this same pocket off center as well, so it corresponds. So if you're going to build this and put it together, make sure you have it the right way. So we're going to put this in here. Going to put this here. Put this on top. Looking good. This top bowl, this is the fire feature. I have this little pie tin I got on Amazon, so this fits perfectly in here. I made this mesh screen to go on top. Let's put some rocks and some fluid in here. We'll fill this full of water next. Our first step is going to be putting the bioethanol fuel into the pie tin. Do that like so. And then I have some lava rock I've previously used. I also have these glass high temp stones that are for fire features as well. And now I'll get some water, we'll fill this in, plug it in. I hope this works. Okay, the moment of truth. Let's light this thing. The flame is going nicely. Let's turn the pump on. And there you have it, fire and water all together. From fire to water to both. This build brought 2 elements that normally don't play well together and made them work together in harmony. 1 bowl, 3 lives, and who knows, this might not be the last project with this bowl. If you want to build your own, the digital files will be available on my website at timberwestdesign.com, or you can look at them in the description. If you've been enjoying this series, stick around. I got more exciting projects. They're going to push the boundaries of 3D printing, concrete, and design. Just unleash your imagination and go wild. We'll see you next time.